We can be in a relationship yet feel so alone. We could be part of groups or even our family, but yet feel separate, like we don't belong. So, what happens when we feel excluded or when we search so hard and long for this sense of belonging? Where is my tribe? Yet we still feel alone or separate in our friendships and our relationships, and even with the relationship to ourselves. So we feel, again, excluded. Like, where do I belong? This sense of exclusion may not have started with us. We may be carrying or entangled with an ancestor who was excluded from our family system. Each family member has an equal right to belong to our family system. And when there is an exclusion, that memory doesn't just go away. That memory gets passed down until somebody in the family system will honor that ancestor. And so your issue today, your depression, sadness, anger, these feelings of not being wanted or not being good enough, they may not be yours. You may be living your life entangled with the fate of another. My name is Megan, and I'm here to tune you to the powerful healing and transformation of the Morphic field. In this video, we're going to do a snapshot tabletop constellation. You're going to begin to identify in your family system where excluded family members may be still unhonored, where you may be entangled with the fate of a family member. We're going to do this through a tabletop constellation, which means I'm going to guide you step by step. So you're going to want little post-it notes and a pen. You can also follow along like this is a meditation as well. We will also talk about how through a family constellation, we can get to the origin of this entanglement and free both you and your ancestor from this continual pattern of fate. Let us begin the tabletop constellation now. So grab your post-it notes and a pen. You can follow along like it's a meditation as well. And let's draw the arrow up top. We're going to bring you into the field. So we're writing me. And let's bring you down here facing forward. And we're going to bring in the next part. So we're going to bring in excluded family members. So again, drawing that arrow, let's have that facing down. And let's write excluded family members. We'll go into more detail about what and who this could possibly be and what this could possibly mean. And you're also going to tune into your family, channel the energy and information of the exclusion in your family as well. So let's bring in excluded family members facing in front of you. And then behind excluded family members, let's have our family system represented. So again, drawing that arrow, we're going to write my family system. And we'll see what information shows up when we bring in your family as a system. Let's place my family system behind excluded family members. And then we can also let's also bring in right now the word entanglement. So let's draw the arrow and we're writing entanglement. And place entanglement right here. So we're just going to bring in that word just to see if there is an entanglement in the family system. All right, let's place your hand on the representation for you. And you're going to tune into the morphic field, receiving energy and information, revealing the hidden, unseen dynamics of your family system. So as you tune into you, notice how you're feeling, what's going on in your body, what emotions are you present to, what thoughts are you present to. See if there's a connection to an excluded family member. And let's also place our hand on the excluded family members. See if you feel related, like you're kindred spirits. There's a familiarity there. What are you seeing when you look towards excluded family members? Begin to notice, begin to let this information come through. Your body knows the truth. See if your body is giving you any messages here. Are you carrying any energy, any remnants, any ties? Are you entangled with any excluded family member? Receiving this information, we can also feel into the energy of your family system. In our family, every member, each person has equal right to belong. And so when somebody is excluded, when they are kicked out from the family, when they leave for some reason, when they are kicked out of the tribe, somebody later will take on that memory to honor the excluded family member. We take on this memory unbeknownst to us, unconsciously. We do it to balance our family system. And we also do it out of love for that excluded family member. So begin to see if you are entangled with a family member. Are your feelings of exclusion not yours? Did they begin with somebody else in your family? Our family system is a tribe, and there are rules that go along with this tribe. And these rules were made out of survival, to grow the family unit, to stay alive and not be killed by another tribe. So these rules and loyalties, this circle of you must do and follow our thoughts, our beliefs, our rules, our limitations for your protection and for your survival, go way back. If a family member stepped out of the tribe's norm, if they were different enough, if they did something to violate the tribe and perhaps cause harm to the tribe, that person may have been completely kicked out of the tribe for the safety of the rest of the tribe. They will exclude one member in order to keep the rest of the tribe safe. And this is a life and death survival. That memory of how a tribe operates, those dynamics, that memory lives. It has morphed over time, but that foundational sense of excluding a family member for the sake of the tribe, now in the unconscious, lives. And so begin to notice even more how even today there's beliefs and thoughts and limitations of what your family tribe subscribes to. And so where you've felt excluded or that you've stepped out of the tribe and there's been a threat, perhaps a sense of guilt or shame for stepping outside the rules of the tribe as they are today. So begin to see the different layers and levels and how far back this tribe mentality goes. Okay, so let's feel back into the excluded family members once again, and you as well. Keep noticing what you're noticing. On the energetic level, are you feeling these energetic ties with a family member who is excluded? And let's begin to look. Those who as children were excluded, so if a baby dies in the womb through abortion, maybe they are stillborn, they were not carried to term, that soul, that baby, has equal right to belong in the family. So if they were not honored or acknowledged, that memory, that soul could leave an impact in the family system. And so there could be an issue generations later where that somebody is carrying that pain, that sadness in their heart for that young soul who was not again, given the chance to live or honored in the family system. So there's this ghost that remains. Feel into if that's true for you. If a child was born out of wedlock, the mother may have aborted the child or given the child away for adoption because she was fearing, this is a real fear of being excluded from the family system, being kicked out with a child. So there's then, if the child was given up for adoption, that child and the mother both being excluded, that leaves an imprint, a memory in the family system. And also not just for those, the mother and the child who were excluded, and if the child was adopted, the rest of the family too has that memory imprinted on them. It can be passed down generation after generation. I'll continue to give more examples that come through the field. So notice what rings true for you. What are you connecting to around those who were excluded in your family system? You may be seeing them, hearing them, tuning into their energy, their memory. Keep observing. Also, along with children who were sent away for adoption, many children were sent away to boarding schools or to live with other relatives for various reasons. Perhaps there were troubles at home, too many children, financial problems, emotional, mental problems, abuse. And so the children were sent away. These children were also excluded, so that can leave an imprint on the family system as well. Imagine, feel into how generations back the medical system was not as developed. Illnesses were rampant, and so many children died prematurely before birth or young. Many mothers died along with them during childbirth. So the trauma and the pain lives, and we often don't even think, oh yes, somebody died young, it just happened back then. That memory of the trauma, if not honored in the family, lives. So again, notice, feel, are there any children or babies who have been excluded in your family system that you may be entangled with? Begin to notice. Our family system is our system of origin, our tribe of origin, tightly held alongside our family system is religion. So the religion that our family was raised with, what religion was passed down, and this could have changed over the years. And also our communities, their communities, and that could be their towns, their small communities, their towns, even their countries. These are tribes, these are systems where people can also be excluded. So, for example, a woman, great-great-grandmother became pregnant before marriage, out of wedlock, and she was excluded from the church. And so not only did her family exclude her, but also the church excluded her, and also the town shamed her. And so we want to look at, there's different tribes that a family member could have felt excluded from. So see how that resonates for you. Are you feeling different levels of exclusion from different tribes, different circles, different systems that you belong to, organizations? How does that live with you? If our ancestors were Catholic and an ancestor got divorced for some reason, great-great-grandparents divorced, maybe there was abuse, maybe there was an extramarital affair, and great-great-grandfather wanted to be with that woman. Great-great-grandmother was excommunicated from the church. So not only was she kicked out from her marriage, imagine what that felt like to be kicked out of your family, your religion, and maybe even lose your children because of something you didn't do. You lost everything, those who you love. Imagine feeling on your own and helpless. So again, that great hardship, our ancestors experienced great hardship like that, and that memory just doesn't go away. So again, see what you're carrying for your ancestors. An ancestor may have been kicked out. They also may have left. So they may have left the church on purpose. Maybe they are about to be kicked out, but they left the church on purpose, or they left their town or their family because they were different. Maybe their sexuality was different, how they looked was different, and they didn't belong to the tribe. Sometimes there was abuse in the family, and there was one person who stood up to the abuse and said, that's not right. But because the abuse was how it was done in the family, there was a loyalty to the abuse. The one person who stood up against the abuse was, we call them the black sheep, was the one excluded. So not the one being loyal to the family system, because being loyal to the family system, it means that you don't talk about the abuse. See if that feels true for any members of your family who were excluded. The ones who were the black sheep, the ones who were different, the ones who raised their hand and said, this is not okay, who took a step, who left the family system, maybe left the religion, left some sort of component behind so that they could honor themselves and live their own life. And see if that's true for you and your family system and for those who were excluded. So in a one-on-one constellation with me, when we have a session together, you get to honor your family member who was the black sheep. So we stand in their shoes and we allow their voice to come through. Most likely their voice was not heard, their vision was not seen, they were not fully honored for who they were. When we honor our ancestors, when we invite them back to their rightful place of belonging in the family system, they are then at peace, and the family system can balance and harmonize, and you are free from carrying that burden, from entangling with their fate. You are free to live your life. For some of you, you may be noticing the women in the family. Who are the women who were excluded from your family? Those who didn't have a voice, those who were kicked out of the family system, who didn't follow the rules. These women in your family who have been excluded, when we welcome them back, ask them to take their place of belonging, we give them the opportunity to speak, and we listen. We look through their eyes. We have them show us what happened that maybe they never got a chance to talk about, nobody else saw. In this way, they heal. Their memory gets honored. So who in your family, the women, are asking to be seen, to be heard? Who in your family, the women, are asking for their rightful place of belonging, to stand in their strength again? Let's look at the men who were excluded in the family. Many men who went to war, who saw the devastation of war, lived the devastation of war, took part in the devastation, took others' lives, ordered others to take lives. When they returned back from war, that level of guilt and shame, they could not speak. They could not balance within themselves that level of horror, of trauma, of terror. And in a sense, they felt disloyal, some of them, to the family system for killing, to their religion for killing. And so there was this cognitive dissonance, if you will. Part of this cognitive dissonance is feeling loyal to the system of war. And so loyal to the country, I must kill, but then against the tribe, my family tribe. And so they carried this incredible pain, this almost bipolar mental place of living, that separate dissonance within the brain. See if that has been passed down in your family system. Many of them, coming back from war, excluded themselves. So see if there are family members, the men, even the women who participated, who volunteered for war in some way, excluded themselves upon return. See if that exclusion, that pain, that memory feels familiar to you, feels tied to you. In times of hardship, so financial struggle, during times of war when there was famine, poverty, men were most often the financial caretakers of the family. And so when there was such great hardship, and even, when a man couldn't physically take care of the family, there was an attempt to exclude, or a self-exclusion of, I'm just going to abandon. I can't take this anymore. I'm powerless to help. So I'm going to exclude myself from the family because I'm a failure. See if that was true for your family in some way, this exclusion because of great hardship, because of feeling of failure. Notice how that relates to you today. Are you reliving, holding on, connected to, entangled with the fate of an ancestor who experienced great hardship and difficulties in that way? When a member of the family was just different, let's say they had a disformed body part, they were handicapped, they could have been excluded. Again, adoption was, or giving a child away was quite common, more common. A parent dies and the other parent cannot take care of the child, so the child gets sent away. The victim perpetrator, within the family or outside the family. So let's say there's abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse within the family. If there could be the case that if the abused spoke up and against the abuse, that they were the ones who were kicked out of the tribe for speaking up. See if there's a victim perpetrator energy again within your family system. That can be also with another outside of the family system. So victim perpetrator with another family system as well. If a person, maybe the black sheep again, joins another tribe, so let's say they marry someone who's of another religion, they may be excluded from the family system. And let's look at this in another way. They may be, on some level, they may be still part of the family system. And this can happen for any circumstance here. So let's say they're not actually kicked out of the family system, but they're just not really given their same place of belonging. So it's almost a subconscious, subtle kicking out. They don't feel like they belong anymore. They're still welcome to family dinners, but they're still kicked out. So see again if that feels familiar, and if there's any family members who are showing up, who again haven't been fully given their rightful place of belonging in the family system. That was a lot. We just looked at a lot of examples of exclusion that may or may not be in your family system. But feeling into your family system, I hope that some of the information came through as far as, yes, I can identify that I do feel a tie to an ancestor that maybe you know the ancestor or maybe you don't, but I'm beginning to identify that I am tied to somebody. I do feel like I'm carrying their memory, their burden, and it keeps showing up in my life that something else is operating here. This is a great start. So when you have a one-on-one constellation with me, we get to the origin of what hasn't been seen in your family system, what hasn't been spoken in your family system, what hasn't been heard in your family system, so that at a deep level, your family system and those involved, those who were excluded, those who excluded also have words to say as well. Many times, those who did the excluding are the ones who want to speak, are the ones who now that they've crossed over, have words to say to those who they excluded. That also balances the family system. So we're witnessing during a constellation, we're facilitating the balance, the healing. We are asking those who were excluded to take their rightful place of belonging in the family system. And again, oftentimes those who did the excluding are so happy that we're facilitating this inclusion again. So when you do the work, when you hold this space for your family members who you've been entangled with, you viscerally, during the constellation, feel yourself releasing from this entanglement. You don't need to carry their fate anymore. They're honored. They're in their rightful place of belonging. So there's no need for you to carry their pain, their memory, to relive their life over and over again. That's complete. So during the constellation, within the 90-minute constellation, you're free. You have this clearing of space where you realize, oh my God, I didn't even know that I had all these ties, all these connections, that I was carrying all that, and that is not mine. That was not mine. And then you see this freedom and this clear space for you to step into. And when you step into this new space, you are stepping into your strength. And that way you can live your own fate, create your own life, free from the influence of those who came before you. And then a magical thing happens. Instead of burdening, instead of hindering, your ancestors show up in support to resource you. And this is a experience that you haven't really fully felt before, because you've only known them as not being present or as burdening you. So now they can resource you on your steps forward, on your life, in your life, living your life free as your authentic self. You can stay in the space as long as you want. Well, we're going to complete this snapshot tabletop constellation. Thank you for holding space for yourself and for your family to heal, to transform, and to live a magical life. Don't stop here. Keep going. Free yourself from entanglements. Free yourself from carrying the burdens of the past. And again, this isn't just family systems. This is also from your entanglements with religion, from your entanglements with society. These are hidden energy entanglements and burdens that we carry that we're not aware of, that affect us day to day. So our issues may not have started with us. I encourage you, whatever they are, to take the next steps on your healing, transformational, spiritual journey. Visit my website, themorphicfield.com. You can learn about one-on-one constellation work, group workshop, and if you'd like to schedule a free 15-minute call, the link is on the website. If you got something out of this video, please hit that like button. It really helps the algorithm pick me up so that we can spread this healing work and transformational work to everyone. And also don't forget to subscribe. And there's a notifications bell within the subscribe link that you can click as well so that you get notified for new videos. If you can, please type in the comments what you got out of this video. I love hearing feedback from you. You can also suggest what other videos you'd like to have me film as well.